So the Grandmaster Nightfall this week started out with this glitch where you could hide up here and complete it very slowly, but that was recently patched, so you can no longer use that cheese. It's a lot harder to complete this Nightfall now, but it is totally doable, and we actually did it with a budget build, which means we completed it with only accessible and seasonal gear. So we only used things that we thought just about everybody should have. I think Destiny's endgame content is really fun, so I enjoy putting together builds like this that show you that you really can play this game without paying for it and still have a lot of fun. Obviously you do have to pay to play this Nightfall, but the point remains. Destiny's endgame is great, and I really hope it's accessible to as many people as possible. First up, I'm going to show you the budget builds that we used to get through this Nightfall, and then I'm going to go through strategies that we used for each room. Unfortunately, our strategy relied entirely on having 2 Titans with Ursa Furiosa. These are gauntlets that allow you to use this banner shield and generate orbs as you take damage, and then gain super energy back too as you take damage. They're really important for staying alive, and we use them throughout this Nightfall. So if you don't have them, I'm really sorry, but this Nightfall is going to be pretty tough. You could use a Well of Radiance Warlock or a Bubble Titan, but for the most part, you're going to have to be really careful. We felt that Ursa Furiosas were something that a lot of people had, which is why we were okay with recommending them, because they were sold at Xur quite recently, and if you don't have them, it is totally possible to farm these through legendary lost sectors. Or maybe you have some friends who have them. You can also do it with just one Ursa Furiosa, but it'll be a little bit harder, and we highly recommend using 2 Titans both with Ursa Furiosa. As you can see, you can chain Ursa Furiosa shields back to back infinitely and constantly be safe, which is really important because everything kills you so quickly. Also, if you don't have Ursa Furiosas, you could buy random engrams from Xur, the exotic vendor that shows up every Friday, or you might even have them in collections and you just didn't realize that you had a roll, so you can pull them back from collections. Anyway, this Grandmaster can be pretty fun and really rewarding because you can get an adept palindrome from it, which is a really good 140 RPM hand cannon. Okay, let's get into the builds. As always, there are time codes in the description if you need to get somewhere fast. So as you know, I was using Code of the Commander, which is Middle Tree Sentinel with Ursa Furiosas. When I'm guarding with Sentinel Shield, I'm converting that to super energy when the super ends, which is the whole point of this build. You can chain this infinitely with your other Titan friend. I was running Long Shadow, the sniper rifle that drops from any Vanguard strike, Stars and Shadow, which is a pulse rifle that drops at the end of any Crucible match, and Two-Tailed Fox, which is a random exotic drop that anybody can get from any source. I was using sniper rifle and rocket launcher ammo finders. On my arms, I had Unstoppable Pulse and Anti-Barrier Sniper. 2 concussive dampeners was really important for surviving all that knockback and environmental damage, and then I had scavengers for my special and heavy. On my class item, I had Sundering Glare, so if I'm landing precision hits from about 40 meters away, it's weakening enemies. Our Warlock was running the Dead Man's Tail Scout Rifle, and Last Perdition, a Void Pulse Rifle that anybody can get, and Code Duello, which is from Umbral Engrams this season. He was running Chaos Reach, which coordinates with his Geomake Stabilizers, obviously, just for longer Chaos Reach damage and getting that Chaos Reach faster. He had 2 rocket launcher ammo finders on his helmet, and on his arms he had Unstoppable Pulse Rifle and Anti-Barrier Scout Rifle. He also had 2 concussive dampeners on his chest piece, which is, like I said, really important for surviving. On his legs, he just had Rocket Launcher Scavenger. And on his class item, he also had Sundering Glare, so landing those precision hits from afar is weakening enemies just a little bit, which helps out. I also noticed that on some of these builds, we're running Charge with Light mods like Powerful Friends and Radiant Light, which not everybody has, but we were only running them together without like a damage boost or a protective light or anything that is like actually helping us out. So the benefits that we were getting were only mobility and a little bit more strength. So it really did not change these builds, and if you don't have these mods, you'll be just fine. If you do have Charge with Light mods or Warm Mind Cell mods, definitely use them. But we just wanted to show that you can do this Grandmaster without any mods. Okay, so in the Titan build, as you can see, he has a Bite of the Fox, a Arc Pulse Rifle, and a Code Duello, all accessible gear. He's also running Ursa Furiosa, like I said, for the chaining of Ursas, which is very protective, and then 2 ammo finders, just one for his special, one for his heavy. On his chest, as usual, he had 2 concussive dampeners, just to stay extra safe. And on his legs, really the only thing of significance is that mod that reduces the melee cooldown a little bit, and he got a little bit more mobility from Powerful Friends, but nothing notable. And then class item, just getting that grenade back faster. Alright, next up I'm going to go over some diagrams of the rooms that presented challenges to us, like the boss room and the garage, so you can get a little bit better sense of what it's going to look like and where things are going to spawn, and how you should prioritize things and how you need to move around the room. Before we move on though, if there's anything in these budget builds that you noticed is not really budget in your opinion, please let me know, because I really want these things to be as accessible as possible. This Nightfall was a little bit weird because you have to like pay for the season pass to play it, which I don't really think is great. But yeah, in general, if you ever notice something in a budget build that's like, hey, that like isn't really accessible, or it doesn't feel like something that I have, just let me know and I will suggest an alternative to you in the comments, or I'll be sure to exclude it from any future budget builds. Okay, on to the strategizing. So when you first spawn into the Nightfall, there will be a road that leads like this up to the tank, which is over here. There will be enemies fighting along the road, but there's a nice rock outcropping that you can just go and hide up along. There will be Scorpius turrets here, here, and here. You just hang out at this rock outcropping, you can actually do this entire encounter. You can also rotate over this one after you've killed the Scorpius turret, and that's another great spot to kill all the ads down here, taking it very slowly and very safely, so as not to waste any revives. Eventually the boss will spawn and walk out, and there'll be a platform that they'll hang out at with a shield generator phase where you're going to have to be careful when you go into it. You could pop an Ursa Furiosa Titan and then jump in with a friend and take out the generator. There's also a Scorpius turret over here to be careful of. In general, this part doesn't need too much explanation, just take it slow and hang out back here in these rock outcroppings and you should be totally fine. Once you get to the garage, things get a lot more difficult. There's a walkway down the middle, and then interceptors are going to spawn over here and over here. You're going to drop down along this ramp in the back. There are shields right about here and here, and you're going to want to post up right here and chain your Ursa Furiosas back to back and put your Ursa bubble right about here. Also, there'll be snipers on this balcony and this balcony, and you need to take those two out right away. The order of priority that I'd follow in this room is snipers first, then interceptors, then champions. There will be some yellow bars in the middle of the room that you can worry about later. For the most part, you need to chain those Ursas and worry about the things that are most pressing, like the snipers and the interceptors. Halfway through this fight, you're going to spawn dogs down here, and they are going to run up this ramp and pinch you. At that time, you definitely need to focus on the dogs. And then at the very end, you can worry about the yellow bars and the red bars in the middle. But for the most part, you need to take care of those high priority targets first, while all the while chaining your Ursa Furiosas right here back to back, so you are never left out of cover for a moment. After you clear the first section, then two tanks are going to spawn right here, right here. Again, you'll have a sniper on either side to deal with first, then your priority is actually going to be the champions in the middle first. Your little shield will be here and your big shield will be here. Pop your Ursa around it like this, and then stand here with your team. Don't get too close to this back wall right here, because the tank blasts can hit here and do splash damage onto you. In this setting, I think again, the snipers on the balconies are your priority, and then the champions. Then at the end, the tanks. And then halfway through, you're going to have to deal with dog spawns in the same spot, and they're going to try to pinch you again. Use your grenades, whatever you have, to just take them out as quickly as possible. They become your priority. And then at the end, you can deal with the yellow bars in the middle. This room is pretty tough, but if you are chaining Ursas the whole time, you should be okay. You need to call out exactly what you're shooting and shoot with your team, so you're always shooting the same thing at the same time. Champions have to be killed within one Ursa phase, because you only have 2 people shooting a champion. And when Titans are switching over between the 2 Ursa roles, you only have 1 person shooting a champion. So ideally, kill champions in 1 Ursa phase. That's not long, so make sure you're coordinated. Also, your Chaos Reach Warlock can almost kill a tank by itself, just with 1 Chaos Reach. So if you're feeding it plenty of orbs, it should be able to kill just about everything. You might have to spend a few revives here, but that's okay. This is the hardest room. Once you enter the boss room, you're going to notice that you are entering over here, and there's a big hill. You want to come up to here and hang out in this little divot. There's a shield here and a shield here. If you pop a Titan shield right about here, it's going to give you a lot of defense against the boss, who's going to land here. Her spawn area is up here on top of this tunnel that you can actually run through when you need cover. As soon as the boss spawns out and jumps over here, she's going to fire off meteor blasts. You need to stand over here and shoot those out of the air immediately, because you're going to have one teammate over here who just started the fight, so make sure you're shooting those meteors out of the air right away. Pretty soon after, you're also going to have an ad spawn at this door and at this door. One unstoppable is going to come out of each door. I would obviously focus on the one that's closest to you first. Then by that time, the other one will have made its way over here, and you can focus on that. And if you need to, just dip through the tunnel and rotate back and forth. This is a major causeway for avoiding damage when you need to and just rotating. One thing to be aware of, when the boss is launching her meteor attack, the tunnel lights on fire and does some burn damage. You can make it through, but ideally don't use the tunnel when the boss is doing a meteor attack. For the most part, you're just going to want to hang out on this left side with your team, peek shooting, using your Titan shields here, and chaining Ursa Furiosas when you want to. You can let meteors hit the Ursa Furiosa to get super energy back more quickly. Don't peek the boss for too long because you will die. She'll just hang out in the middle here and shoot at you, but you should have a relatively easy time peek shooting and doing damage. Eventually, she'll throw up a generator that spawns in the middle. You're going to have to send in one Titan with an Ursa Furiosa to take out this with light attacks, or you can send in a Titan and a Warlock, and the Titan can defend the Warlock while the Warlock shoots the generator. After this bubble goes down, I would recommend rotating with your team all the way down to the beginning of the room. There will be a shield here and a shield here that you can hide behind pretty effectively. You'll want to hang out here doing damage to the boss and then waiting for unstoppables to spawn right here and right here. They're going to slowly make their way down to you. Try to stun them one at a time to stagger them so they're not aggressing at you at the exact same time. If you stand far enough back, the meteors actually won't track you as effectively, so you probably won't have to shoot out as many, which is good because you're going to have to be dealing with an ad spawn and 2 unstoppables. Just hang out here, popping Ursas when you need it and hiding behind the barricades. Finally, the boss will jump back up to her original spawn location and place another generator. At this time, more meteors are going to come out, and you're going to have to send a Titan and a Warlock up there, the Titan guarding the Warlock, or just a Titan if they feel confident enough, and they can light attack the generator and hopefully kill it. But if they die up there, it's going to be really hard to revive them. So I'd recommend sending 2 people who can defend each other, or trying to distract the boss and shoot out meteors while one person sneaks in and out. Maybe they could land a lasting impression rocket on the generator and a grenade and then sneak out, or something to that effect. After you kill the generator, the boss is going to jump back down to the middle and get a lot more aggressive. At this time, you're going to want to rotate from this back area all the way back to your original hidey hole, all the way up here. Whenever the boss gets aggressive, rotate through the tunnel to the other side, do a little damage, and then rotate back through the other side. After you clear the ad spawn, you should be fine to just keep rotating, keep peek shooting, and playing it really safe. Okay, those are all the tips I have. I really hope this was helpful. You don't have to do this with a budget build, but I really like to show that you can if you need to. It's likely you have a little bit better gear than this if you're attempting a Grandmaster, but I don't like to assume. If you have any questions whatsoever, drop them in the comments and I'll respond to you, and I hope I can help you find a solution. And if you need somebody to play with, you could join our Discord server or any other Destiny Discord server out there, and I'm sure you can find people who can help you out, or help you get some good gear to prepare you better for the next Grandmaster if this one just doesn't really feel doable. But if it does, I really encourage you to try it out because it's fun. I think all Grandmasters are pretty entertaining, to be honest, and you can get that adept palindrome, which is a really nice PvP gun. I actually got quick draw rangefinder, and the other perks weren't amazing, but I'm really happy to have gotten that. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Good luck out there, and I'll leave you with what we found was the most effective strategy for completing Nightfalls in a timely manner.
Remember the strat unversed when we get up there?
Back left, and then when he's at the front, you go to the other side.
No, not that strat. The one before that, remember?
Oh, the emo strat.
Yeah, exactly. The emo strat. Alright.
Overshield.
My turn.
Your turn.
Whee!
Alright, let's go kill this.
Alright, let's do it. Okay, thanks for stopping by. Catch you later.